What's up, Trojans? Just wanted to get a nice quick video out recapping the 2024 NFL Draft, and the Giants got Malik Nabers. Very excited about this. I think he's going to come in, make an immediate impact for the Giants, put up some decent numbers, have a shot to have a really nice season. And the two things I've mainly seen coming out of this draft on that pick is some people want Rome more. Understandable, but Malik Nabers is also really good, so I don't think those people are too upset. I want Malik Nabers in a lot more, but if the Giants had opted for Rome instead, I would have been okay. Really happy they got Malik Nabers, though. But the other big one was, okay, who's throwing him the ball? And Daniel Jones is very likely going to be throwing him the ball, but I don't think that's going to really hurt him. It's only going to help Daniel Jones out. There's a lot of wide receivers in the NFL that are able to put up decent numbers when quarterback play goes down, whether it be a backup or switching teams. Like Mike Evans last year was able to still do well with the quarterback change there. So it can happen. You know, really good wide receivers are still able to be really good wide receivers. So I think he'll come in, do well right away. The Giants did fill some other needs. They got a guy that they think could be a replacement for Xavier McKinney, safety named Tyler Nubin. Should be good. Should be interesting. Giants definitely needed a safety with the departure of Xavier McKinney to the Packers, so should help fill that hole. And then in the third round, got a corner, Drew Phillips. Again, much needed position. He could also be a day one starter, but the Giants do have a lot of young corners now. So a lot of guys will be there competing for starting positions. And then fourth round got tight end Theo Johnson. Again, should be interesting, fills a need. Could end up having a big role year one if, for example, Darren Waller retires. Then he's going to come right in and be able to get some catches. Bellinger's still around, I believe. So, they should be just split in time. Then got a running back and a linebacker after that. Nothing too crazy there. Having another running back, always helpful since Saquon left. The Giants' mentality at this point is definitely, as long as the offensive line holds up, a running back can do well. And with that, a lot of people have definitely pointed to the fact that the Giants did not draft an offensive lineman. I don't think that was necessary to do, especially since the Giants clearly targeted that in free agency. And theoretically, you have 3-star offensive linemen on the team: Andrew Thomas, John Michael Schmitz, and Evan Neal. I say theoretically because Evan Neal didn't look great last year. Hopefully he bounces back, and then we have 3-star offensive linemen, and we just need the guard play to be adequate. And the Giants will have a really nice offensive line. And if the Giants do have a decent offensive line, that does help Daniel Jones out a lot. It'll help Singletary out a lot, and consequently help Nabers out a lot. So I think this is a great draft for the Giants. Really fill out these skill positions. Giants desperately needed a number one wide receiver, and getting some pieces on the defense is going to help out a lot, especially since new defensive coordinator might really change up the scheme. All the guys on the team might not 100% fit that scheme, so you want to get some guys in here that can come in and already adjust to that right away, because some of the guys on the team, might need that adjustment period. And honestly, the new scheme could end up helping a guy like Kayvon Thibodeau. Giants also got Brian Burns, probably for the new scheme purposes as well. Should be a solid year for the Giants. I think they'll be able to compete, and that's not what everyone wants to hear, because then if the Giants compete this year, then, that delays getting a high quarterback in the draft another year likely. But I don't think that's a bad thing. If the Giants were to go out and let's say get 7 wins exactly or something, that puts them in position to be able to trade up or, go crazy with a trade for a quarterback or a high free agency quarterback. The position could still get updated. The only way I think Daniel Jones goes out of his way to keep his job is with a 9-win year and a fringe playoff run, kind of like 2022. And I'd be rooting for the Giants to just win a Super Bowl this year. But we'll see how that plays out. Neighbors coming in, getting a few thousand receiving yards right away first year. Looking forward to that. No, I think he'll come in, make an immediate impact. 800 yards probably, maybe 1,000. Just random ballpark range of what I'm thinking. Because he seems like the type of guy that just catches the ball and then can do a lot afterward. Nice shifty wide receiver, should be a nice number one target, whether it's Daniel Jones, whether it's Drew Lock, or whoever's. Tommy DeVito comes back. The Giants' wide receiving core last year definitely had to deal with a nice rotating group of quarterbacks. So hopefully Malik Nabers is up to that potential challenge. I think he will be, though. And then the other parts of the draft, just kind of going over what actually happened with the other teams. First 3 picks went down exactly as expected. I thought there'd be a trade-up. I was wrong on that. So then the draft went how I would have expected had there not been a trade-up. Cardinals took Marvin Harrison Jr. The Chargers ended up with all... But I think this is actually where a trade-up almost happened, because while the Cardinals took Marvin Harrison Jr. an amount of time that suggests they just sat around, waited, did their due diligence for trades and stuff, or just letting the time take a little bit for dramatic effect, as teams do in the first few picks of the draft especially. The Chargers waited until the last second to submit their pick. Like, they were down in the seconds, the last minute, and then the pick came in. So I think the Chargers were really considering a trade there, or were flipping a coin in the back on who they wanted. Something went down there. So I've heard a lot of rumors based on that. One rumor was the Giants tried to trade up one spot for Joe Alt. That sounds very interesting to me. I would think it would make a lot more sense to give Evan Neal another chance. But if the thought process was move Evan Neal to right guard, then yeah, getting Joe Alt and throwing him in at that tackle spot would be good. But then the question is, do you think Evan Neal struggled because he was playing left tackle and in college more, and then was moved to right tackle kind of in the NFL? And would you want to do that to another guy? Who knows what was going on there, though. It all set up the Giants taking Malik Nabers at 6. And then Titans wanted an offensive lineman, and the reason I kept going is because why did the Falcons take Michael Penix Jr.? That made no sense to me, as it did to everyone else. Made no sense. Everyone was going crazy about it. And, I mean, it worked out for the Vikings. They were able to get J.J. McCarthy pretty easily. I think the reason they had to trade up is they were probably calling, like, every single team after the first 3 picks, thinking, like, hey, how much would this cost? We would like J.J. McCarthy. And then probably at that point, either the Broncos or the Raiders were considering a trade-up, and the Broncos ended up just going with Bo Nix. Very interesting, because I could have seen a scenario very easily where both Penix and Nix went in the second round, but that's not how that played out at all. Vikings got their guy a lot easier. Broncos got a guy too. Very interesting setup. Yeah, I have no idea what the Falcons were doing, though. That would have been like if the Giants traded up in 2023 to get a quarterback. Like, just after signing Daniel Jones to all that money, you just immediately go to replace him. Like, you got to ride a guy out for a couple years if you sign the contract, or just don't pay Kirk money in free agency. Like, you had options there. You didn't have to do this weird thing. I saw one defense that was like, yeah, but it does guarantee they have a decent quarterback. That's like, yeah, it does. Hopefully. Like, I guess it doesn't guarantee that either way, but in their eyes, 90% chance instead of 60. I think it's very weird to allocate all of that amount of resources, just all of that right there on that position, because you get the worst of both worlds. You had to spend a very high draft pick, and you're already paying a star quarterback, instead of just paying the star quarterback and getting a number one wide receiver, or getting a high draft pick and not having to pay him for a few years and getting to ride out that rookie contract. Now that rookie contract is likely going to get played on the bench. Just doesn't make that much sense to me. It's almost like the Jordan Love thing, but I mean that one's kind of working out for the Packers. The only weird thing is the contract stuff with that. There was a day and age where guys didn't get the biggest raise, so it's like, oh yeah, sit them for a year or two and it's fine. But now you want to really maximize that rookie contract. It's the easiest way to build a team. All right. That's all I have on this one. Very excited about the Giants after the draft. Very excited about the upcoming season. Looking forward to see everything Malik Nabers is going to do on the field. See you guys in the next one.